I went for my first Brazilian wax, thinking I could handle it, but it was a hilarious disaster. Have you ever made a decision so questionable that halfway through, you start mentally reviewing every life choice that brought you there? That was me, in all my wisdom, deciding to book my first ever Brazilian wax appointment. I honestly have no idea what possessed me to do it. Maybe I was feeling extra adventurous after binge-watching motivational TED Talks on stepping out of your comfort zone, or maybe it was my best friend's fault for convincing me that everyone is doing it. There I was, scrolling through my phone, looking at spa websites, when the idea first popped into my head. At first, I laughed. Me? Brazilian wax? Nah. But then that dangerous little thought crept in, what if I actually did it? You know, that little voice that whispers, this will make you feel so empowered. And like the sucker I am for any self-improvement mumbo-jumbo, I booked the appointment. Immediate regret followed. But I couldn't back out now. That would be weak, right? And let's face it, I already had this image in my head of walking out of the salon looking and feeling like a Greek goddess, as if I was some kind of magazine cover model. Spoiler alert, I did not. But I'll get to that. I could feel my inner voice screaming, this is a trap. But I was already too far gone. The appointment was booked, and my dignity was about to be sacrificed. As soon as I hit confirm on that booking, I knew I had just signed myself up for something serious. And what do we do when faced with the unknown? We Google it, of course. I began frantically typing things like Brazilian wax first-timer tips and how bad does a Brazilian wax hurt? Let me tell you, the internet is a scary place. At first, I found some articles that tried to be helpful. You know, the ones that say things like, just relax and breathe deeply. It's really not that bad. Lies. But then, as I dove deeper into the abyss of online forums, I found horror stories. Women talking about fainting mid-wax, or leaving the salon unable to sit properly for days. Oh, and let's not forget the one story where a woman said she screamed so loud the neighbors called the cops. Great. Now I was questioning my sanity. Who does this willingly? I spent hours reading testimonials, everything from, it's life-changing, you'll never go back to shaving again, to, it was like being hit by a truck. So, naturally, I started panicking. I mean, what was I thinking? This was my body we're talking about. But I'd already made the appointment. Backing out now would mean admitting defeat, and there was no way I was about to let a little thing like immense pain get in the way of personal growth. Right? I kept telling myself, you'll be fine, people do this all the time. But as I spiraled deeper into the Google black hole, I began to wonder if those people were even human. The day finally arrived. I woke up with the same feeling you get when you're about to take a test you didn't study for, or when you see a dentist and realize you forgot to floss for the last 6 months. But, hey, I was committed now, no turning back. So I got ready, put on my best, I'm totally not terrified face, and drove to the salon like a soldier marching into battle. As I entered the salon, I was greeted by the familiar scent of lavender and vanilla. You know, that spa smell that's supposed to make you feel relaxed and zen? Except instead of calming me, it just reminded me of how much I didn't belong there. I felt like a fish out of water, or more accurately, like a fish about to be filleted. The receptionist greeted me with a smile that said, welcome to your demise, though I'm pretty sure that was just my imagination. Hi. You must be here for your Brazilian, she chirped, way too cheerfully for the context. I nodded, trying to act casual while every instinct screamed for me to bolt out of the door. I sat down in the waiting area, trying not to make eye contact with the other salon goers, all of whom seemed unnervingly calm. One woman was casually flipping through a magazine, like she was just waiting for a manicure. Meanwhile, I was sweating bullets, rehearsing what I would say if I decided to fake an emergency and run out of there. Maybe I could pretend my cat suddenly needed surgery? Too dramatic? Okay, maybe I'd say I had a migraine. Yes, that's plausible. But before I could put my elaborate escape plan into action, the receptionist called my name. You're up, she said, far too chipper for someone who was about to send me into the depths of pain. And so it began. As I walked toward the waxing room, I felt like I was heading to a very polite execution. My legs were carrying me forward, but my brain was screaming, "Turn around, you fool." I followed Gloria the Great, that's what I decided to call her in my head, into a small, dimly lit room. The kind of room that should have been soothing, with its candles and soft music, but instead felt like the chamber of doom. Gloria was all smiles, as if she didn't realize she was about to torture me. Or maybe she did, and she just enjoyed her job that much. Either way, her chipper attitude was not helping. "Okay. You can undress from the waist down and lie on the table," she said, in the same tone someone might use if they were asking you to grab a snack. No big deal, right? Just undress and lie down like it's the most natural thing in the world. Except it wasn't natural. It was weird and awkward, and my inner dialogue was going full panic mode. As soon as Gloria left the room, I started the undressing. Let me tell you, there's nothing quite like that moment when you're standing in a room with no pants, trying to maintain a shred of dignity while folding your clothes neatly, as if that somehow makes the situation less humiliating. Then there's the towel. Oh, the towel. That tiny piece of fabric that's supposed to make you feel covered, but in reality just leaves you feeling more exposed than ever. I lay down on the table, adjusting the towel over my lower half like a sad attempt at modesty. Gloria came back in, and that's when it hit me, there's no turning back now. This is happening. I'm here. Pants are off. I'm on the table. We're doing this. She started making small talk, probably to distract me from the fact that she was about to apply hot wax to my most sensitive areas. "So, is this your first time?" she asked, as if we weren't about to embark on a journey that could very well ruin my week. "Yup," I replied, trying to sound casual. Inside, I was screaming. "Oh, don't worry. It'll be quick," she said, smiling that reassuring, almost too kind smile. Little did I know, quick was a relative term. As I lay there, staring at the ceiling, I realized that the worst part wasn't the pain I was about to feel, it was the sheer awkwardness of the situation. This was, by far, the most vulnerable I'd ever been. And it was only going to get worse. Yep, here we go, the first application of wax. Let me tell you, it starts out deceivingly pleasant. The wax was warm, almost soothing, like the kind of warmth you get from a nice cup of tea. For a split second, I thought, hey, maybe this won't be so bad. And then Gloria pressed the wax strip down, smoothed it over, and with the precision of a trained assassin, ripped it off. There are no words to fully describe the sensation of that first rip. It's like someone took 1,000 tiny needles, heated them over a fire, and stabbed them all into your skin at once. I saw stars, actual, literal stars. I think I even left my body for a moment. I didn't scream, I was too shocked to make any noise, but I did make this strange, strangled noise that was somewhere between a gasp and a dying animal. Gloria, bless her soul, just smiled and said, "You're doing great." I wasn't doing great. I was dying inside. If the first strip felt like 1,000 tiny knives, what on earth was the next one going to feel like? I wasn't sure if I wanted to find out, but there was no way I could leave half-waxed. I was trapped. Now, the thing about waxing is that it doesn't get easier after the first strip. If anything, it gets worse, because now you know what's coming. It's like being on a roller coaster that only goes up, and each strip is a new peak of terror. Gloria kept chatting away, talking about her weekend plans and what movies she wanted to see, while I was lying there trying to remember how to breathe. At one point, I decided to try and distract myself by making conversation. Maybe if I could get her talking, I'd think less about the fiery pain. So I asked, "Have you been doing this for long?" "For 8 years now," she replied, cheerfully. "I've waxed thousands of people." "Thousands? Great." I was just another victim in her long, illustrious career of hair removal. She was practically a professional torturer, and I was her willing participant. The next few strips came off in quick succession, each one somehow more painful than the last. At one point, I thought, this is it. I'm going to pass out. I didn't, but I came close. I started to wonder if people ever fainted during waxes. If so, how would Gloria react? Would she just keep waxing while I was unconscious, like some kind of efficiency queen? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. By the 10th strip, I was seriously contemplating my life choices. Why had I done this? Who was I trying to impress? And more importantly, how much longer could I endure this before my body gave out entirely? Once the waxing was over, I lay on the table for a moment, trying to gather the strength to get up. My legs felt like jelly, my skin was on fire, and my dignity was nowhere to be found. Gloria, bless her heart, acted like everything was normal. All done, she chirped, as if she hadn't just peeled off half my soul. You did great. I nodded weakly, still too dazed to form coherent words. I somehow managed to sit up, careful not to make any sudden movements because everything felt raw and sensitive. Gloria handed me a bottle of aloe vera gel, which I clung to like a lifeline. This will help with the irritation, she said. Irritation? I thought. Girl, I'm way past a irritation. I'm in full-on, I need to sit on an ice pack for the rest of the week. But I smiled and thanked her anyway, because what else could I do? I mean, it's not like I could undo the whole experience. The damage was done. As I awkwardly shuffled back into my clothes, I tried to remember how to walk. My legs felt wobbly, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was about to collapse. When I finally emerged from the waxing room, I gave the receptionist a stiff, forced smile. She smiled back, probably thinking, here comes another one of Gloria's victims. Walking out of the salon was an experience in itself. Have you ever seen one of those old Western movies where the cowboy walks out of the saloon after a shootout, limping but still trying to look cool? That was me, except instead of surviving a shootout, I had survived a Brazilian wax. Every step felt like a challenge, but I was determined to walk out of there with some shred of pride. Once I got to my car, I sat down gingerly, wincing as the seat made contact with my freshly waxed skin. Why didn't I bring a pillow? I cursed myself. Driving home was an exercise in slow, careful movements, because every bump in the road felt like torture. I made a mental note to look up the best sitting positions for post-wax survival as soon as I got home. I thought the worst was behind me, but little did I know that the real challenge was yet to come, dealing with the aftermath and wondering if I'd ever feel normal again. Once I finally got home, I collapsed on the couch, legs spread as far apart as possible because there was no way I was letting anything touch my skin right now. I had made it through. I had survived. But at what cost? For the first hour, I alternated between Googling post-wax care and lying completely still, wondering if I'd ever be able to walk normally again. According to the internet, things would be back to normal in a few days, but I had my doubts. I mean, sure, the smooth skin was nice, but was it really worth the trauma? I wasn't convinced. As I stared at the ceiling, reflecting on my life choices, I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. There I was, lying on the couch like a wounded warrior, all in the name of beauty. Would I ever do it again? Honestly, I wasn't sure. But one thing was certain, I had earned the right to complain about it for the rest of my life. And yet, despite everything, there was a tiny part of me that felt accomplished. I had faced my fears, survived the pain, and come out the other side, barely. Maybe this was what empowerment felt like? Or maybe I was just delirious from the trauma. Either way, I knew one thing for sure, this would be a story I'd tell for years to come. As I lay there, debating whether the smooth skin was worth the suffering, I realized that this experience had taught me something valuable: never, under any circumstances, trust your friends when they say, it's not that bad.
Enjoyed the story? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss new content. Share your thoughts and ideas in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think and what you'd like to see next. And if you want to keep watching more videos like this one, just click on the next video. See you there.